Hi, everyone. I wanted to get back in touch here today. I know that many of you are looking for additional guidance in terms of what you should be doing in order to stay healthy, to boost your immunity, and if you were to contract this virus, what you could do for yourself, your family, and your loved ones. I do want you to know that I've recorded a few videos, one each week actually, on how to properly prepare, what I am doing with my family and in my private practice, myself, of course, as well. And that's at stephencabral.com/virus. So what I want to do with the Cabral concept is continue to have the podcast coming and continue to teach from many different aspects. But when it comes specifically to COVID-19 and the coronavirus, I want to share that with you in one place so that it's shareable and it's easy to find. And that is at stephencabral.com/virus. As always, please let me know how I can help, how I can be assistance. And the best way of doing that is to simply ask your question at cabralsupportgroup.com. My team and I are here for you without a doubt. Please let us know how we can help and head on over to stephencabral.com/virus for all additional information at this time.
Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. Great to have you here today on this Total Wellness Tuesday episode, where the topic of the day are the 9 physical signs of internal-based symptoms and vitamin-based deficiencies. So important that we understand that the media of the day and conventional medicine teaches us to mask and palliate symptoms while ignoring the underlying root causes. And although I don't want anyone to suffer in my practice or in their own life, what I do want to teach you is that even if you are palliating the symptoms, like a headache or whatever it might be, you have to understand is that it's not going to go away. And if you get rid of the medication or whatever you're using to calm that down, the symptoms still remain. That means that, let's say that you're on a statin-based drug. Well, okay, you're lowering your cholesterol artificially, because if you ever came off that drug, it would bounce right back up. Same with high blood pressure, same with type 2 diabetes, etc. What I want you to do is, of course, I want you to keep yourself safe, but let's work on the processes under the surface that are happening inside your body that you can't see that are causing all sorts of, again, physical-based symptoms. Now, it's not from the outside. None of these things are happening from the outside. They're all happening internally and showing themselves on the outside. That is why I'm a big believer in symptoms. And I'm a big believer that we shouldn't always mask the symptoms, because the symptoms allow us to know if we're on the right track with our healing-based protocols. So again, I don't want you to put yourself in harm's way. And I'm not even talking about very serious diseases today. But what I want you to understand is that if you have headaches or you tend to get allergies or migraines or whatever it might be, digestive-based issues, we'll know if we're on the right track over the weeks of healing-based protocols if those symptoms start to ease naturally, right, from the protocols that we're doing. However, if you're taking the medication and it makes the symptoms go away, you don't actually know if your body's healing at a root cause-based level. You know, you can be emptying that rain barrel, but you don't know if you come off the medication whether you're good or not. So it's just something to think about. Again, I'm not telling you to go off any medication that you may be on, but today I'm going to give you some very simple ones that for sure you'll be able to use this with many people in your own family and friends, coworkers as well. So this is a nice episode where I'm going to tell you exactly what we do in our practice when we see these physical-based signs and symptoms, and then you can do what you feel is best for you and your family and your loved ones. So that is it. Let's get right into the show. And I'm essentially taking you through 9. I might add in one more. We'll see here. All right. So this is really important. Now, we're not just talking about vitamins, but it's easy to think of it that way, right? Because we don't like magnesium and calcium, all these types of things, sodium, potassium, all our electrolytes. Oftentimes we're just like, oh, well, those are our vitamins. Well, technically they're not, right? Those are minerals and electrolytes, but they're contained within a good activated multivitamin and things like that. So, although we might use the catchphrase vitamins, it could be amino acids, it could be minerals, and I'll explain all of that today. You don't have to have your master's or PhD in biochemistry to know this, right? We're going to do some very simple things here, and I think this is going to be hopefully quite helpful. So the first one is this. And again, I just picked 9 that I see in my practice every single day. And so I just know that this affects a great number of people. Most likely you'll have one of these things, or you are more prone to it. That's what we say in our practice. We just always ask people, are you more prone to this or that? And we talk about that quite often. I'll get to that in the show today. Well, the first one is this. Are you more prone to dry skin or a flaky scalp? And what is that a sign of, right? Because it's not happening from the outside. The only way that this may happen from the outside is, let's say that you live in a cold, wintry type location like I do in New England, and during the colder months, you take a hot shower. Well, a hot shower very could dry out your scalp. So there's no doubt about that. So if you have flaky scalp and dry skin just during the winter months, well, it might be that you have the heat on high and your body's becoming dehydrated and there's not enough moisture, okay? Well, again, then you need to hydrate more, and water would be an internal symptom, right? So hydrate that body for sure. But oftentimes, people are dealing with dry skin and flaky scalp all year round. And there's a couple main things. Now, again, there can always be like about a dozen things. I'm going to give you the heavy hitters, the things that it's most likely to be. So the first one can actually be candida overgrowth and fungal overgrowth, especially with the flaky scalp, okay? Especially if you start to see some ringworm or some rash-based marks on the scalp as well. So let's see if I have done that show. Let's just see here. Oh, it's actually slated to come out tomorrow. So check that out. The main reasons for women's hair loss. All right. So check that out. That's coming up tomorrow. Today's show is 1509. The reason why you might want to head over there right now, StephenCabral.com/1509, is because I'm pretty much going to link everything that I talk about there today to make it easy for you. But the first one is this. Okay. Flaky scalp. Could be candida overgrowth. It can be lack of omega-3s, same with dry skin, for sure, no doubt about it. Lack of omega-3s or your omegas in general. And let me go through these today and make this super simple for you to find out a lot of information so that I don't make this a 2-hour show. The next part can be low thyroid as well. So lower thyroid can absolutely cause more dry skin and flakier skin. So super important. Of course, medications can do that. But here's now how to find out more about omega-3s and lower thyroid. So all you'd have to do is just go to StephenCabral.com/podcast. So if we do that right now and we type in omega-3 right in the search box, you're going to find all of the shows that I've done on omega-3 and omega-3 sources. So super easy. I give you the best vegan-based sources, the best fish-based sources of omega-3, and you can check that out as well as vitamins too. So you can just go to that, type in omega-3, and you will find all of those shows. Do keep in mind, last year, I believe it was last year, let's see if it was last year or the year before. I mean, time flies, it really does. Is that it was actually, believe it or not, a year and a half ago I started these. Every single Friday review, I went through all of the different vitamins and all of the different minerals, and omega-3 was one of those as well. And on those shows, I talked to you all about every single nutrient we can get all of those things from. So I'm going to give you the overview today. And if you go to StephenCabral.com/podcast, you can find previous podcasts on that. And just one more thing to be able to help you out is if you go to CabralSupportGroup.com, that's our free Facebook group. You're welcome to ask questions there and just say, hey, listen, I can't find the show on omega-3 sources. Okay, no problem. You just let our team know and they will write back to you and find that show for you. So we're always happy to help. And I just want you to know that we are here to help with that. All right, so dry skin, flaky scalp, those are your main go-tos first. And again, I'm talking about this in addition to something like the Daily Foundational Protocol Level 2. That's what we do in our practice. Like, that's standard. I mean, literally, Daily Foundational Protocol Level 2. You can find all of these at equilibriumnutrition.com. That is standard. And then you can go to an episode like 118 and find out about omega-3 fish-based sources. Okay, so next up on today's show, we want to go over thin, brittle hair. Okay, so this is in addition to, again, the lower thyroid and the symptoms I'm going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about vitamin mineral-based deficiencies right now. This is extremely important. The reason why I wanted to bring this one up, because there are so many that we could talk about, is that if the hair is not growing or it's very thin, you could have a deficiency in biotin, okay, which is essentially part of the B vitamin family. You could have a deficiency in zinc, a deficiency in vitamin C, a deficiency in your overall B vitamins, which help with stress and it helps with hair and tissue repair. And you could have a deficiency in protein and collagen. Now, why do I bring these up? Now, look at this. If we look at zinc and we look at the B vitamins and we look at protein, we look at collagen. So let's exclude vitamin C for just a second. Those particular things come from essentially protein-based foods. This is super important because although I'm one of the biggest advocates of not eating too much protein in your diet, especially between the ages of about, let's say, 25, 30 years old and about 60 years old. I've gone over this on the research. It actually shows by the time you get to like 65, you could take in a little bit more protein because your body's in more of a catabolic state. And again, this goes perfectly with the Ayurvedic-based science as well. But between those anabolic years of like that 25 years old to 55, 60 years old, if your protein is too high, there is a correlation with more cardiovascular risk, more higher blood pressure, more cancer. Okay, so because we put the body in more of an anabolic-based space. And this is difficult to understand from a strictly conventional medicine perspective. But when you begin to look at Ayurveda as well, you can start to see, well, those are big anabolic foods. So if you're eating like 150, 200 grams of protein a day, it is possible that although you're growing muscle tissue, you're also growing tumors as well because there's more IGF-1 in the body, there's more hormones, and it's possible. Again, it's not definite, but it's possible. But here's the thing. There's a lot of people, if you were to add up your protein for the day, and you can use any calculator out there that you want, like any daily calorie counter, and you can look at your macros. There are many people getting less than 50 grams of protein per day. And if you are, and you have thinning hair, and you have fatigue, and you have like your muscles you're losing muscle mass, you very well may not be getting enough protein or collagen or B vitamins or zinc. And then again, if we add vitamin C to that, well, that is how we help with that thinning hair as well. Check out tomorrow's show for other reasons that have to do more with hormones and stress and thyroid, etc. Okay. The next is graying hair. A lot of people have been asking about hair, right? Hair. Well, we're going to put together the best, literally the best of Ayurveda and the best of cutting edge research. I'm going to be talking about red laser therapy. I'm going to be talking about PRP for the hair. I'm going to be talking about the different vitamins, nutrients, like everything that you need. I'll be talking about in the future. Just give me a couple weeks on this, and I will absolutely get you, without surgery, the best way to stop yourself from losing hair and to regrow hair. The best of the best. Okay, well, what's the reason for starting for grayer hair? Well, a big part of that we know for sure is a lack of zinc and copper. And the main one, traditional Chinese medicine tells us this, same with Ayurveda, is copper. Okay? That's why, although there's a lot of people worried about copper toxicity, and you should be, again, how do you run copper toxicity? Simple minerals and metals test, like super simple. If you want to see all of your vitamins and minerals, all you have to run is something called the starter kit. The starter kit is at equilibriumnutrition.com. We'll try to link that up today. But honestly, I'm going to tell you exactly what we do in our practice. And then at the end of the show, I'll tell you how you can get these things anywhere that you want as well, especially if you're although we deliver to 25 countries around the world, maybe you're listening to this and we don't yet deliver where you are. Okay, so copper is a big one. It allows for what's called melanin production. And if you're not getting enough copper from things like shellfish or certain seeds and nuts, even dark leafy greens and prunes, well, then you are not going to be able to produce as much melanin for the hair. Now, again, the hair does naturally gray in time. I've got some grays coming in, and I can just tell you that is part of the aging-based process. They're working actually on gene-based therapy right now to reverse the graying process or not allow it to even happen in the first place. Interesting. I don't think I would ever be the first person to sign up to have my genes edited to stop graying. Maybe if it was something far more serious, sure, but there's that. And if you're looking for natural hair colors, I did an actual show on 2 products that are actually non-toxic that are more natural hair colors if you're someone that's looking to get rid of that gray. All right, so there's that. Now, what about canker sores in the mouth, or maybe even like cracks right around the lips and the mouth. Okay, couple big ones. B vitamins is huge. I see people with cracks at the corners of their lips. I'm going to be doing a whole show, believe it or not, just on the lips. Because again, in Ayurveda, just by the color of someone's lips, by the quality of them, that we can tell so much. So I'm just going to give you a couple today. But if there's cracking of the lips, especially the corners, we're typically looking towards zinc and B vitamins, all right? Though, again, tissue repair, right? It's all about that. If you're thinking tissue repair, I want you to think B12, your B vitamins in general, but think this, B12, you're going to think zinc, and you're going to think vitamin C. Honestly, it's a great first place to start. A lot of people go right towards collagen. Collagen's a great one. Don't get me wrong. We have a product called Advanced Collagen Support, 3 patented ingredients. It works amazingly well. But don't look there first, okay? Look to get 50 plus grams of protein in your diet. Don't go overboard. Most people need between like 50 and 85 grams of protein per day. Again, I have lots of shows on how much protein you need, so you can check that out. And then after that, if you still want a little boost for your skin, your hair, your nails, okay, then you can add the Advanced Collagen Support. Okay, so we talked about the cracks a little bit in lips. What about the canker sores? Well, some people are dealing with low-level viruses that a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and about 6 to 8 ounces of water upon waking, or just any half hour before breakfast and another time before bed, can be highly beneficial. The other thing that can work really well is, well, there's a couple things. You can actually do a colloidal silver spray for the mouth. Okay, that can help quite a bit. I don't recommend long-term usage of colloidal silver, but anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks is totally acceptable. Vitamin C is another big one, and I want to give you 2 more on this. So 2 more that we found very helpful is L-lysine. And the last one that I would actually talk about is being careful. Some people are far more sensitive to acid-based fruits in the mouth. So that would be something like kiwi or pineapple or lemons that are more acid in the mouth. Again, these are very, very alkaline-based fruit when it enters the body. Meaning, like, as it moves through the digestive tract, what happens is you break down all those minerals, and those minerals can then be used as alkaline-based sources for the body. But in the mouth, they're actually acid, right? So they're acidic. And we know this, right? Because citrus would cook. Like if you make a ceviche or ceviche, right? What do you use? Well, you use citrus. That literally cooks the fish. So there we have it. Okay. Next up is something I answer this honestly every probably 2 months on the Cabral house calls and the weekend house calls. And it is the little bumps on the back of the arms. Sometimes we just see them in children, but adults can have them as well. It's often referred to as chicken skin. And I think that's an endearing term, I guess, because it kind of looks like chicken's skin. It's all little bumps, okay? They're not necessarily red bumps or anything discolored. They're just little bumps on the back of the arm. Well, this is actually, it has a name. It's a condition called keratosis pilaris. But don't think that it's anything typically serious. It's usually not. What we find is that it's either a vitamin A or a zinc-based deficiency. It can also be a clogging of the pores on the back of the arms. So what do? Well, we typically take a exfoliating sponge or a loofah or something like that, and we use a little coconut oil and we exfoliate the area to open that up, okay? So it basically rubs them off a little bit. If there's any buildup in the pores, the coconut oil is an antimicrobial, it's an antifungal, it's an antibacterial, so that's helpful. And then we also supplement with zinc and vitamin A. Now, of course, children need far less. Typically 5 to 10 milligrams of zinc for a child for the day is plenty. And vitamin A we try to get from more natural sources. And of course, when you're getting it inside of a supplement like the Daily Nutritional Support or the Activated Multivitamin, which are both functional medicine based, you want to look for beta carotene, and that's exactly what we use. So that's the natural form. Now, of course, you can get vitamin A from eating red peppers and other high vitamin A foods. Sweet potatoes is another example. And for zinc, you can always eat things like hummus or pumpkin seeds that I'm a big proponent of. Okay, and super simple too. You can take a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds for you or your kids and just toss them in the blender as part of an acai bowl or part of a smoothie. And there you go, more zinc. It's like doing that, adding in a Brazil nut for selenium. Very, very easy to do. All right, next up is I have, and I did a show on this. So I actually want to find this one for you because I did a show on tongue diagnosis and I believe on nail diagnosis. So let's see if I can find that. So what I want to do is, well, I'll get that for you in a moment, but I want to go over just straight ridges on the nails. So I always look at people's nails, whether it's over Skype on a consultation or in office, and I want to see if they have deeper vertical lines on the nails. Okay, actually, I wasn't going to give you the other one. I'm going to give you both today. So if you have deeper vertical lines, that means running in the same length as the finger, right? So up and down, up and down. Small little lines is normal. Okay, that's actually how the thickened skin grows on the nail. That's normal. But if you can run your finger over it and actually feel these vertical ridges, it's often a sign of weakened digestion. Okay, that means that you might have low stomach acid, and therefore you might not actually be absorbing your calcium, magnesium, zinc, and B12. Now, there are others, but those ones are greatly affected. And you may not be breaking down your protein as well, which might be one more reason that you're staying away from protein, or you're feeling bloated. So check that out. Super important one as well. I said I would give you the other one, but the other one's a little different. A horizontal ridge, that means it runs perpendicular to your finger, and it's like a bump, right? It's like a little speed bump on your nail. That's often a sign of a psoriasis of the nail, typically due to fungal overgrowth in the gut or bacterial overgrowth in the gut. You can test that using the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. That would be a good way to test that. You're also welcome to add on top of that the bacteria and parasite stool test. All right, bruising. What about bruising on the body? Oftentimes we get it on the legs, a little bit more prone to hitting the legs, but you can get bruising anyways. I mean, you can get it literally in your forearms just from resting on your desk. Well, what if you do bruise easily? So iron is always the go-to, right? It's like, oh, it's an iron deficiency. And it very well may be, okay? It might be an iron deficiency. You test that by running your blood work with your PCP, and you don't want them just to run iron or total iron binding capacity, TIBC. You actually want them to run ferritin, all right? So yes, run the TIBC, but run the ferritin, run the transferritin, all right? If ferritin is on the lower side, again, I don't know what lab company you're using, but typically below 50, we might have to add more iron into the diet. You can do that through natural foods, or you can do it through supplementation. If you do it with supplementation, I only recommend natural forms of iron, okay? So I'll link up everything today at stephencabral.com/1509, just to make it easier. And all right, besides iron, we have iron. We took care of that. Your iron is good. What else could it be? Okay, it could be B vitamins. Again, we're going back to those Bs. Why? Well, they're needed actually for good oxygenation in the body. Could be vitamin C. All right, so I didn't even mention this one today, but if you have bleeding gums and you have bruising on your body, vitamin C. All right, so add vitamin C. How much vitamin C? Just about 1 gram or 2 a day. We don't need to go overboard for long-term use. Now, some people use 5 grams, 10 grams for short periods of time. Fine. But not long-term use, okay? Not unless you're under the care of a physician or a qualified practitioner to be on a longer-term dose. How much do I recommend? Again, for adults, about 1 gram to 2 grams per day. We just need it. I mean, people are too stressed, and especially if you're exercising, you just need that for repair. Typically take in the morning or at night. You just don't take it directly after your workout. That's all. Okay, so that is bruising, and let's see. I've got 2 more for you in my notes here. I have leg cramps or eye twitching. I mean, how many times have you got one of those little annoying eye twitches, right? Like, what's going on with that? Well, it's pretty much the same thing as leg cramping. And there are 2 main minerals, not vitamins, but minerals that might be the source and cause of this. And those are calcium and magnesium. If I were to go for one first, it would typically be magnesium. And the reason I would choose magnesium is that magnesium is the relaxant, and calcium actually helps with contractions. So basically, we need both, right? Calcium contracts, magnesium relaxes. You absolutely need both. So my recommendation, though, is just something like full spectrum magnesium. You could simply use, let's say, 1 at lunch, 2 at dinner. Let's see if that's enough. It's only about 330 milligrams or so. You might add a little bit of magnesium citrate before bed, a half hour or so before bed, especially if you have difficulty sleeping. Okay, and that's all part of our deep sleep-based protocol. If you need both calcium and magnesium, so for example, if you run a minerals and metals test and your CalMag is pretty even, your calcium to magnesium ratio is even, well, then I would use a product called CalMag Complete, 1 with lunch, 2 at dinner, and you're all set to go. So super simple. Again, there are more reasons than what I'm talking about today, but I'm giving you the vitamin mineral-based deficiencies that it may be. The last one is constipation. A lot of people have constipation, and they're not really even considering themselves to be in that group. So, for example, if you have one or less bowel movements per day, you might be more prone towards constipation. If you have to force a bowel movement, well, you're more prone to constipation. If your bowel movements are on a little bit of a drier side, then you're more prone towards constipation. If it comes out as little pellets, well, you're more prone to constipation. So what do we need? 3 main things. Again, there can be more, but 3 main things. Water, okay? You might be dehydrated. Half your body weight in ounces of water per day. That's what we're going for. Fiber. Are you getting 30 to 35 grams or more of fiber per day? Most people in my practice, after we repair their guts, are getting 40 to 50 plus grams of fiber per day. And it's not difficult. Simply put, we're getting about 8 to 12 grams of fiber per meal. And if you just multiply that over, actually, they're getting more than that, 12 to probably 15 grams of fiber per meal. And then if you multiply that over the course of the day, you're getting 35 to 45 grams or more of fiber per day. So not difficult when you're eating 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, mainly vegetables. Okay, so we need water, we need fiber, and then we need magnesium. And magnesium helps with the smooth muscle bowel contractions. So we're actually allowing, it has more to do with the central nervous system. We're relaxing the central nervous system, which allows for that peristaltic movement called intercession that allows the stool to actually move through 23 plus or minus feet of intestine. And so that's what we want. Very simple. We have something called advanced fiber support. We also use the magnesium citrates before bed, and we use alkalizing vitamin C in the morning. That will help 90+% of people with their constipation-based issues while they're also cleaning up their diet, removing a lot of the dairy, removing a lot of the things that might bind them up. So those are all of the top recommendations for the day. Hopefully that was helpful. We kind of flew right through those 9 symptoms, although we are at our time for the day. So all of these are available. I mean, all the minerals, all the vitamins, everything you need is available. What I would say is that you're going to cover pretty much all of your bases by doing something called the Daily Foundational Protocol Level 2. It's a complete activated multivitamin, electrolyte, detox factors, antioxidants, 15 grams of hypoallergenic protein in the daily nutritional support. Then with that also comes the 22 organic fruits and vegetables in the powder form with the daily fruit and vegetable blend. You're going to get 2+ grams of omega-3s that have been triglyceride bound as well as molecular distilled for heavy metals. So really amazing product. And then you're going to get 50 billion live probiotics in a delayed release capsule for a good gut-based health. That's Daily Foundational Protocol Level 2. And of course, Level 3 is the Daily Digestive Enzyme, which will help you break down all of your whole foods even more as well. So that's a place to start. More zinc and more copper would come from a product called Balanced Zinc. And then in terms of more magnesium, a product called Full Spectrum Magnesium. If you need calcium, you always take the calcium with the magnesium. So that's Cal Mag Complete. The B vitamins, Extra B vitamins, is a product called Activated B Complex. The collagen is a product called Advanced Collagen Support. And I believe that's it. Oh, alkalizing vitamin C is the powdered form of vitamin C. And the pill form of the vitamin C, the capsule, is called Full Spectrum Vitamin C, which is a combination of whole food forms of vitamin C, like acerola berry, mixed with the best of functional medicine-based forms. So that is pretty much everything. Now, we offer all those things at equilibriumnutrition.com, but always remember, you can use equilibriumnutrition.com as kind of your sounding board. You can look at the particular products, and you're always welcome to get them anywhere you want as long as they are functional medicine-based formulas, because you don't want to waste your money on products that don't have the purity or the potency or use the methylated versions of those B vitamins, and especially vitamin A, again, looking towards the beta-carotene. Hopefully today's podcast was helpful. Head on over to stevencabral.com/1509 for all the links and details. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. And as I said, if this was helpful, please do feel free to pass along to anyone else you believe it could serve.
Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process.
I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.